New poison flower Asha 4 is quite interesting, you venomous bastards. I've developed a build that uses new martial arts weapon, meaning fist weapons, combined with the poison flower and also with a second set of martial arts that utilizes bleed because it connects well with the poison since both are accumulated through arcane attribute. It's a fantastic combination that allows for two playstyles, extremely effective playstyles, focused on light armor and movement with procs from bleed and then poison thanks to the new Asha 4 poison flower. Bosses in the video have been recorded on New Game Plus, and don't worry, there are only a couple of bosses here that are mostly fought during the early game. I wasn't paying attention too much to how I'm playing, it doesn't matter, I just wanted to test this and how it would work. So basically this build is all of the new stuff, meaning the new weapon type and the new Asha 4. When doing the first playthrough you won't be able to acquire both of these weapons at once, because the second martial art or hand-to-hand arts weapon drops before the final boss. Thankfully you can rush the final boss and finish the fight before that to obtain the weapon and then return to the DLC to continue doing whatever you want to do. In the first playthrough you're only going to use one hand-to-hand art before obtaining the second one, and that hand-to-hand art needs to be poison oriented. Get on it, the poison flower blooms twice, Asha 4, which is the new one, and make it cause poison buildup. After obtaining the second hand-to-hand art weapon, make it cause blood loss buildup. I've used Dry Leaf Whirlwind as Asha 4 because it does multiple hits in quick succession, which increases the accumulation of blood loss. Also, any kind of upgraded seal is mandatory for the buffs. From armor pieces, the only thing that is important, unfortunately, considering how terrible it looks, is the mushroom crown. The goddamn thing does increase the attack power upon poisoning the opponent, so it's quite useful as it stacks with other buffs. Rest of the armor pieces can be whatever you want, but try to make it light load. It works better with this kind of a setup. Talismans are quite ordinary, Rotten Winged Sword Insignia to increase attack power with successive attacks, a bit of a defense with Dragon Crest Great Shield, then the Millicent's Hand to boost dexterity and raise attack power with successive attacks, and of course Shard of Alexander. In the Wondrous Physics Flask we have combination of Opaline Hard tier and Green Burst Crystal tier. But honestly, go for whatever you want here, I just like this combination a lot. Spells, Golden Vow and Flame grant me strength, typical stuff. Stats should look something like this. The only difference is if you go for more strength and dexterity than arcane, then normal attacks are gonna do more damage. If you go with more arcane, then the poison flower skill is going to do more damage. In the end it ends up being quite similar because you're gonna have to use both normal attacks and the poison flower. I mean, you can just spam poison flower, but it requires more usage of the flask to replenish the FP, which is not recommended against the bosses, considering that you are already going to use the normal flask to heal often. How to play. Before the fight use Flame grant me strength and Golden Vow. Use the Wondrous Physic Flask. Use FP Replenishment Flask, dual wield the Poison Fist weapons, and then go in to fight the bosses and everyone else. The most effective way to play this is with the two weapon setup. It's not necessary, but it is the most effective way, because we can put poison on an enemy and then switch to the blood weapon. Use that Whirlwind Dry Leaf Art to inflict blood loss couple of times and then switch back to poison to use the poison flower to deal that massive damage, while the enemy is still poisoned. That's why the poison flower does a lot of damage. Enemy needs to be poisoned first in order for that weapon art to do its damage. Problem with poison accumulation, even with high arcane, is that it takes longer and longer each time to poison the enemy. You could try to poison the enemy multiple times fast and then use poison flower as soon as they are poisoned, but it's not as effective because you're gonna have to hit them more and more times after each poison expires upon using the poison flower. So I usually let it tick a little bit, do its damage, use normal attacks in the meantime. If I have the second weapon, then switch to blood loss weapon, and then afterwards apply the poison flower thing. Anyway, it's that simple. I hope you like the build, enjoy it. Check out the links in the description for Patreon and Subscribe Star. Links if you want to check out some reactions that I'm doing on those sites. And that's all. See you soon.